welcome back to my channel if you're new here. My name is Mary and today's video is going to be my X's and O's reading vlog. So X's and O's is a readathon hosted by a lot of people that I can never remember all of their names. So I will link all of their channels down below, or I will try to link all of their channels down below. It's like a week-long readathon, and technically it started on Friday, the 3rd of February, and it goes until the 8th, which I believe is a Wednesday. So I am starting it today. You will have seen already a clip from Friday because Matt took me to see the Judds and Martina McBride opened, and it was an incredible life-altering experience for me because I grew up listening to the Judds and Martina McBride in like 80s and 90s country. So very exciting times in my life, but it's Sunday now, the 5th. So this readathon has already been going for a couple of days. If you missed my TBR video, I did talk about this readathon and what I'm planning on reading in that, but I will go over it again for you here. I don't remember the name of all the prompts off the top of my head. I will try to look into that and let you know at some point, but I am reading Take a Hint, Danny Brown for one of the prompts. I'm reading The Switch by Beth O'Leary for another of the prompts, and then I am reading Me Before You by Jojo Moyes for a third prompt. So my plan is, I've already started listening to Take a Hint, Danny Brown, which is the second book in the Brown Sisters trilogy. It's a series of standalone romances following a group of sisters in England, and Danny Brown is a PhD candidate at this university. She's teaching there at a college, and she has this friend who's a security guard there named Zafir, and Zafir used to be a rugby player, and then he stopped playing professional rugby and started running a nonprofit to teach like boys through rugby how to like be in touch with their emotions. So it's kind of like rugby and therapy at the same time, but that's his nonprofit. His nonprofit is running out of money at the beginning of the book, so he's trying to figure out how he's going to market it to make more money because he doesn't really want to tell people that it's him, a former professional rugby player, running the organization, because he got some bad press, which is why he got out of rugby. Not bad press, I just don't want to ruin it because I didn't know what it was, but he doesn't want to like redo all of that basically. So at the beginning of the book, Danny is wanting to find another like friend with benefits because she doesn't really do relationships because she's very career focused, and so that's like where she's at. Zafir is trying to figure out how he's going to make money for this charity organization. Then there's a fire drill at the place where they both work, and Danny gets stuck in an elevator, and Zafir carries her like in his arms out of the building, and there's a video taken of it, and it goes viral, and so he gets outed that he has this nonprofit charity thing, and they agree to fake date to continue the publicity for his nonprofit. And Danny also convinces him to go into like a friends with benefits relationship while they're fake dating. So basically they're real dating is what's happening. But I'm a little over halfway through that. I'm really liking it so far. I really like Zafir as a character. I really like Danny as a character. Honestly, I think I like Zafir a lot more than I like Danny. Like, I think if Danny had a different love interest, I don't think I'd be that into this book, but I do really, really like Zafir. I like a lot of things about Danny. I just don't know that I'm like feeling super connected to her as a character, whereas I do feel very connected to Zafir. I hope that makes sense. But I am enjoying it. I don't think I'm getting like any 5-star feelings, which is unfortunate, but this is the same thing that happened when I read the first book in the series. I gave it 4 stars, thought it was really good. The smut is very solid. I will say, something about the way the smut is written, I don't know if it's that she's British, she uses words that I do not associate as like sexy words a lot. And I just don't feel very sexy reading them. So I don't know. And also listening to smut in audio form doesn't, like when it's more explicit, doesn't always work for me. I hope that makes sense. I know that I'm doing it to myself because I'm listening to it as an audiobook, but it is what it is. I am still really enjoying it, and I will let you know when I finish that. But the other thing I want to say is this week, I am going out of town. I'm leaving today because I have a work thing. So I have to go to Wichita, which is 3 hours away. And I'm going to be there until Thursday night, which is when I'm driving back here because I have to be, somewhere else Friday morning. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. I'm packing for that right now. I've packed clothes and I'm packing makeup and stuff that I need to bring with me. It shouldn't take too long, but I just wanted to let you know it's gonna be a little like travel hotel vlog situation, but I should finish this book, and then I want to finish the audiobook of The House of Impossible Beauties, which I started last month for a different reading vlog, but I never ended up finishing it, and it's a reread for me, so I would like to finish the audiobook of that as well, and I think I can finish both of those audiobooks on the drive to Wichita, and then hopefully I will have an update with you, or for you, about how I felt about Take a Hint, Danny Brown, ultimately. Murphy is running around like a crazy dog. Can you say hi? What's up? Okay, great. I'll talk to you soon. Hello. This is my hotel room. I, as predicted, finished Take a Hint, Danny Brown on the card here, and I think I am going to give it 4 stars. I thought it was really good. It was really cute. It was a fun time. I liked Talia Hibbert's writing. Again, same complaints as last time, so it's not a 5-star read for me, but 4 stars is not a bad rating at all. It means I really enjoyed the book, and I would recommend it to other people. I also, while I was downstairs in the hotel, like, bar and restaurant area, I got some dinner, and I read a little bit of, what is it called? The Switch by Beth O'Leary. And so I'm like barely into it at all, but it does kickstart right from the beginning with action. So I don't think I've said in this vlog what this book is about, but The Switch is about Lena and her grandmother who decide to switch like lives for 2 months because Lena bombs a job presentation, which is like the first thing that happens in the book. And I assume we're gonna get her grandmother's perspective here in a second. And Lena lives in London, but her job basically is like, she bombs a presentation and her boss is like, listen, you haven't taken a break in a year. You need to go on a 2-month sabbatical, which is a very British thing, I guess, because in the US that is not a thing that happens. But she's been given this sabbatical for 2 months to not work. And that's pretty much where I am in the book so far. But I know that her grandmother, something happens to where she's newly single and about to be 80 and she wants to like meet someone and fall in love again. And so they do like a switch. And the grandmother, I think, lives in Yorkshire. I could be wrong about that. But she lives somewhere up north, I want to say, in England, and Lena lives in London. And so Lena and her grandmother are switching places, and Lena's going to go live at her grandmother's house for 2 months, and her grandmother's going to come live in her flat in London for 2 months. And I assume they both have sort of a love story. I'm still excited to read this book, even though I will say the way that it jumps into what's happening is Lena basically having a panic attack before her presentation, and then we see her right after the presentation that she gets bombed, and she thinks she's gonna get fired, and she just gets this sabbatical. So it's very jarring to start like that, in my opinion. I thought it jumps right into the action, and I would have preferred a little bit more build up. I don't know what else I wanted to see, but I'm gonna probably read for a little bit before I go to bed, and then I will read some more tomorrow and hopefully have another update for you pretty soon. Hello, it is Monday evening, and my hotel has a free happy hour thing from 5:30 to 7. So every hotel guest that's over the age of 21, I guess everyone has access to the like thing, but you have to be over 21 to get the drinks. But they have snacks, which was like nachos and mashed potatoes, and so I've eaten way more than I should have. And I've got some wine, which technically I was not supposed to bring out of the downstairs area, so I put it in coffee cups, but you get 3 drinks. So I knew I wasn't gonna have time to drink all 3 drinks in that time because I didn't finish with work until like 6:15. And so I just ordered 3 drinks pretty much back to back and poured them into various coffee cups and took them upstairs in between the time. And I know the bartender was on to me, but he didn't say anything. So all that to say, I am more than halfway through with, if I could hold it up right, that would be awesome, The Switch by Beth O'Leary. And unfortunately, I think that my initial impression of this book might have been correct. So I think part of the problem is that I have been listening to it sort of all day. So like, I don't know if I've said what I'm here for, but I'm observing a trial because we care about the outcome of this trial, but my firm is not actually participating in this trial, but we're participating in a trial that's related to it. I hope that makes sense. Can't really, for confidentiality reasons, explain more about it than that. I got a hotel that's close enough to the court where I can walk. So I walked this morning and listened to my audiobook. I also listened to my audiobook while I got ready. I don't know if I've mentioned I found an audiobook of it, and I'm really glad that I did, because I think it's Daisy Edgar Jones is the one who does the voice. I get them confused. So there's a Daisy who plays Rey in Star Wars, and there's a Daisy who was in the Conversations with Friends movie, and it's that Daisy. Or was she in Normal People? Now I can't remember which Sally Rooney adaptation she did. I think it was Normal People. She's also in Fresh. Whichever one was also in Fresh. I feel like I'm going insane. But she's the narrator for Lena, and then Eileen is the grandmother's name. So this is much less, like way less romance heavy than I thought it would be. It's just about these 2 women in their lives. So Lena has a boyfriend named Ethan, and she's switched lives with her grandmother, which I already mentioned. So Lena has gone to live in her grandmother's like tiny Yorkshire town cottage, because I believe Yorkshire is like a county. I could be wrong about that, but that is sort of my understanding. Or maybe it's just the biggest No, I think York is the city, Yorkshire would be the county. I don't really know. If you're in England and I'm offending you, I'm really sorry. I don't know anything about your geography. But they've switched lives. Eileen has sort of met a silver fox, as you will. She's like doing the online dating thing and enjoying her time with that. I don't want to give too much away, but like it's a romance, or like a romance adjacent, I guess, novel. So I have like suspicions of who both the ladies are going to end up with, but we're over halfway there and neither of them has ended up with either person yet. Honestly, the couple that I'm like most rooting for has interacted on page once, and it was at the very beginning of the book, and I'm waiting for that interaction to happen again. Because I mean, like, I feel like I know where this is going to end up, but I'm still curious to see, you know? So I still have Me Before You to read for this vlog. What I was saying is, I was listening to it as an audiobook outside, like walking around. It was extremely windy today. I also kept getting, like, distracted because technically, like, you're allowed to observe court proceedings, right? Like, you're allowed to do it. It's not frowned upon, like, you're allowed to go, but I don't really want to draw attention to myself as somebody who's going to eventually be adverse to one of the parties, if that makes sense. And I'm like basically going because my client wants me to figure out what's happening in this trial so that we know what we can say in our trial. And like, I don't know. It's allowed. Like, none of it's not allowed. I don't remember where I was going with that at all because I'm just talking to myself. But this, I want to like it way more than I do. Like, I honestly feel like this would be a really cute movie because there's been a couple of scenes that I'm like, oh my god, that's such a cute thing that's happening. But I'm just not really vibing with the writing style, I guess. Or maybe I'm just not vibing with the audiobook, but I kind of like that the audiobook has two different narrators. But yeah, I'm just like, I've had to go back and restart a couple of chapters because I just wasn't like really understanding what was happening, which it should not be a complicated story, so I don't really know what's up with that. But I feel like I've heard mixed things about Beth O'Leary. I've also heard mixed things about Sally Rooney. And I feel like I've never had this experience with Sally Rooney where I've felt as confused as I felt while reading this book. Even though, like, I know people don't jive with Sally Rooney's writing style, I'm wondering if that's how I am with Beth O'Leary. But I'm going to push through because I'm not, like, hating it. And I do want to see what happens. I'm pretty sure I know, but I kind of want to see how it happens. But also I'm getting kind of frustrated because we're at a point in the book where it's like, it's been going on for a while. And I just would like it to happen. Please. And thank you. So, I will let you go for now, and maybe I'll have more coherent thoughts tomorrow. I'm hoping to have finished this by tomorrow so that I can start Me Before You tomorrow so that I can have that finished by... I know this vlog technically is supposed to end on Wednesday, but if it takes me until Thursday to finish it, my videos go up on Thursdays, and I can hopefully get it done by Thursday, and that would be great. So, that's it for me right now, and I will talk to you when I have another update. Ooh, how's that? I wanted to update you because I'm on my lunch break and I've listened to almost all of The Switch and I am liking it more now. It's leaning more towards like a 3.5. I'll probably round it up to 4 if I'm feeling generous and if something like really cute happens, which I'm expecting will happen, ignore my unmade bed. I don't know if other people do this. When I'm staying at a hotel, I don't really like my room being cleaned while I'm here. Is that like really weird? I don't know, but I always put the do not disturb thing up so that they don't come in my room and like, cause okay, this is my suitcase situation. These are all my clothes. I know I could just pick up after myself, but I don't really want to. And in the mornings, I'm rushing to get where I'm going and they come like mid-morning. So anyways, but I wanted to mention a couple of things about the Switch that I did not mention previously. One is that grief and loss of a sibling / loss of a daughter / loss of a granddaughter is very prevalent in this book. So Lena's sister, Carla, her younger sister, passed away semi-recently. And like I said, I'm liking it more. I'm sort of seeing, again, like I said, I'm seeing where the like couples are coming from. This is like frustratingly slow-paced though, so I would not consider this a romance. And I bet it was marketed as like chick lit, which it definitely is, but for some reason in my mind, I thought this was a romance because I thought Beth O'Leary was a romance author. And for that reason, I've been kind of disappointed with the way that like the romance topics are being handled because like nothing is happening in that front. It's just both of the women like living their lives and finding their like passions and like rediscovering their sense of self and like their own like internal joys and stuff, what brings them joy, which is like fine to read about, but just not what I was expecting. So I will hopefully finish that today. I have to walk back. Like I said, I'm on lunch. So I came back to my hotel room because they gave us kind of a long time today. So I don't have to be back until 1:30, and I think we left at like 11:15. And so I decided to just come back to my hotel room, do a little work here, eat some lunch. I had a little pita wrap thing from a place called Medis, which I think is a chain, but I've never had it before. It was very good. I had falafel. And then I'm going to go back. So I have to walk back down there. And again, it's like a 15-minute walk. It's not bad. But that means I'll probably get to listen to more of this book. And I think I should be almost finished with it. So I should have a final update for you tonight. And then I can start reading Me Before You, which is very exciting. So I don't know if I'm going to finish all of that tonight and tomorrow, but I'm going to try to. And if not, I will finish it on Thursday and let you know my final update on that book then, which will technically be past the time of the readathon, but I'm still going to count it in this vlog. So that's where we're at now. And I'm going to walk back to court. Hello, it's a little later, same day. I've changed, obviously, and put my hair up, and I'm gonna go down to like the happy hour mezzanine thing that we have at this hotel, which is very fun. But I wanted to let you know that I did happen to just finish The Switch, and I think I'm sticking with my 3-star rating. I really enjoyed the way like that it ended up. I thought it was a very cute book, but ultimately, I don't know. I feel like I went into it with the wrong expectations, and because of that, I wasn't able to like fully enjoy it. Also, I wanted more interactions between the characters that wound up being together. Again, I don't really want to say too much, although I think it's like fairly obvious from the synopsis what's going to happen. But I felt like the like main love interest for Lena, the younger one, the granddaughter, I feel like he had a lot of components that would make him a very compelling love interest, but I also felt like he was very flat as a character, and that didn't really work for me. I felt like there was more character development and growth, and like we got to see more from the older woman, Eileen's love interest, and I also felt like we got to see more growth from Lena and Eileen, and more so from Eileen than Lena. So I felt like this book did a really good job of categorizing the growth of the older characters, but like I said, the younger love interest just really fell flat for me, and that's why I'm keeping it at a 3-star rating. But I do think this is a really good book, and I think it's a book that I feel like I would recommend this to people who don't necessarily want a romance, but they like a love story or like a chick litty book, because there's no smut, no steam. There's like mention of sexual things, but nothing is on page at all. So if you are into that kind of thing, I think you would like this one a lot. But I am going to move on to Me Before You now, and I've got an ebook of it on my phone. I didn't bring my Kindle with me. I know I own it on my Kindle, but I didn't bring my Kindle with me on this trip. So I'm going to start reading it that way. I also have an audiobook of it, so I'm probably going to try to read it both ways and see which way I like better. And hopefully I can, fingers crossed, finish that tomorrow, or like I said, finish the audiobook on Thursday on my drive home. So worst case scenario, I get it to where I only have 6 hours left of the audiobook, because then it's about a 3-hour drive, and if I listen at 2 times speed, I can finish that. I think it's a 15-hour audiobook to start with, so we're gonna see where I can get with that, and I will let you know as soon as I have an update. Hello friends, it's Wednesday. It's a little chillier today, thus the jacket. I'm once again on my lunch, and I wanted to let you know that I've started Me Before You. I am about a little over a third of the way in. I'm primarily listening to it as an audiobook. It does have like multiple narrators listed at the beginning for when it goes into different perspectives, and I actually literally just had the first like perspective change. Is that better lighting? Maybe. Yes, this is better. This is the window, so that's better. But it's about a woman named Louisa who is let go from her job as a waitress at a cafe because the owner of the cafe is shutting it down and moving back to Australia. They're in England, I believe, and so she is looking for a new job, and she ends up getting offered a job, or getting the opportunity to interview and apply for a job where she will be a care person for a quadriplegic. So a person who is paralyzed from, I believe, the chest down. His name is Will, and Will used to be a like adrenaline junkie kind of. So he was really into like skydiving, skiing, bungee jumping, stuff like that. Very active. He's also from a really wealthy family, and he had a pretty high stress, high power career. I don't know if it's mentioned what it was, but something in business. I'm not sure exactly what he did. but he got run over by a motorbike, I believe is what happened. And that's why he is now paralyzed. His girlfriend left him after he got paralyzed, and that's a big sore spot for him. And so essentially Louisa's job is taking care of Will. She doesn't actually need to take care of his like physical needs. She's pretty much just like a friend for him that she's being paid to be there, but like to keep his mood up, kind of. And I can definitely see, I don't think I mentioned it in this video, but I mentioned it in my TBR, that Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe, she has a younger sister, I believe, who is a wheelchair user. And Olivia said that the representation for wheelchair users in this book is not great. What I will say, I don't know how Olivia's sister ended up in a wheelchair. I don't know anything about that. I do have a cousin who has muscular dystrophy, and so she's not in a wheelchair all the time, but she does get tired walking, and she will eventually be a full-time wheelchair user, so she has a chair now, and I know that adapting to a chair has been really hard for her, and so it's not at all the same thing as Will in this book, because it's pretty much overnight he can no longer use his limbs. All of that to say, when Olivia reviewed this book, she said that it was not very good at wheelchair user representation, that it utilizes a lot of negative stereotypes about wheelchair users, like they have no quality of life, and they all have like depression, things like that are pretty common ideas that non-wheelchair users have about disabled people, which I know, I assume you also know, is not true. It's not the experience of every disabled person. But it does seem to be largely the experience in books. And what I will say is, I don't know that I necessarily think that it's like terrible representation, because I'm sure that there are wheelchair users, especially when they are put in a wheelchair by some kind of accident, feel very betrayed by their bodies. And this is something that like I obviously have never experienced, but I can understand that as a concept. I can imagine that it would be extremely frustrating for me as a person who has never, well, I broke my leg once and was in a wheelchair very briefly, but like a person who basically has always been able to walk, how frustrating it would be to no longer be able to walk, and not only that, but to no longer be able to feed myself or do basic things for myself, like Will cannot. Like I do understand how that would be very frustrating. There are a lot of trigger warnings for mentions of suicide and assisted suicide, and attempted suicide, things like that. That's very prevalent in this book, so if that's going to bother you, I would not recommend reading it. But so far, I am enjoying my read of this book. I just wanted to get all of those caveats out of the way. So you are starting to see, as the book goes on, you start to see a like friendship type relationship build between Louisa and Will. Louisa currently has a boyfriend who has recently, like, I think they've been together for like 7 years or 6 years and some change, which I've been with my partner for 6 years and some change, so I can sort of relate to her on that. And like the changes that you go through as individuals. And she feels like in her relationship, they are kind of growing apart because her boyfriend has gotten really into like fitness and working out and running marathons and stuff like that. So they don't really have a lot in common anymore. And so what I'm thinking is going to happen is that they're going to break up, and she's going to have some sort of romantic relationship with the man she's helping. I don't know that it will turn romantic, but I can definitely see it going in that direction. And I have a feeling that I know how this book ends, and I'm pretty upset about it already. So I think this book will make me cry. Again, I'm hoping to finish this book tonight. I might not be able to. I do have some... After I'm done with court today, I have some work that I need to do, and I'm also expecting a call from one of the other attorneys in my office, so I don't know if he's going to do that tonight or tomorrow, but all of that to say, if I don't finish this tonight or give you another update tonight, plan on having an update tomorrow with my final thoughts after I listen to the last of it on my drive home. But again, I am hoping to at least get really close to finishing it tonight, if not completely finishing it. So that's the only update I have right now. I'm about to have to walk back to the courthouse, and I'm wondering if I should drive, because I think it's supposed to rain this afternoon, and it's not a far walk, but I did not bring a rain jacket because I did not check the weather before I came, and so I'm worried that if it rains, I'm going to just be like sloughing through the rain in my ballet flats, which are the shoes that I have on, and be upset about it. So, because I don't have an umbrella or anything, which is, you know, I should have thought about that ahead of time, but I think there's a garage near the courthouse that I can park at, so it'll probably take me the same amount of time to drive as it would to walk, but it might be worth it to drive. So that being said, I will again, of course, let you know what I do and how I end up faring with this book when I get further along in it. But I just want to give you that update now. Hello. I'm back in my home. Obviously. Sorry that we have a giant Shrek. I am going to turn this way so you don't see that. Hello. I'm back in my home. It is Thursday night. I've driven back from Wichita today. And I wanted to let you know that I finished the book that I was reading. Sorry that you can hear Matt and the dogs in the background. But I finished Me Before You, and I really enjoyed it. I think I'm going to give it 4 stars. Ultimately, it did not... I mean, what I thought was going to happen did end up happening. I will say I kind of wish it happened a different way, but I obviously don't want to spoil what happens. But I did really enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was a really, really good read. A solid book. I definitely, like, felt the romance in this one more than I felt it in The Switch, which was good. What are you doing? Anyways, but that's it. I just wanted to let you know that I finished that book. So I did complete this vlog. That is going to be it for this video. If you made it to the end, leave one of those. I can't remember if they have like an X or an O in like an emoji, but you can leave that emoji down below, or you can leave like the kisses emoji, because this is like a Valentine's Day reading vlog type thing. Sorry, you can hear my dogs. They have the zoomies in the background, but I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like it if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. And let me know if you participated in this readathon, and if so, how you did and what you read. Also, let me know if you've read any of these books and how you felt about them, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!